Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. It's great to catch up with you. Congratulations on the new track that you have put out with The Who. This is Mongol. Of course, we're playing it here on the X. I always love to know how these collaborations come together. Was it just a simple ask, or is there more to the story than that?
Man, they reached out. It came to me kind of out of the blue. I was just so pleasantly surprised. Just said, you know what? Yeah, let's see what we can do here. Thus began a journey to kind of get the record that you hear now. It was definitely a welcome challenge.
I'm always fascinated by how other artists discover other artists. So I don't know if you were familiar with The Who beforehand, or, if that's something maybe you run into them at a festival, or you hear about them, or maybe even see something online. How do you discover music in general?
Social media certainly plays a role. And then, good old word of mouth from friends still plays a role. With The Who, I was aware of them. The first time I saw them was like a video clip, probably online. It was, a few years back, and I just thought, wow, this is, because it's just such a novel, interesting thing, right? I mean, throat singing over metal music. I mean, it was like, wow. And I was struck by how well the two things combined. You know what I mean? Like, it was a video clip, and, they're coming at you. It was like, okay, all right, and that music really lends itself to all kinds of applications, right? Like, film soundtracks or television shows. It's a visual and a sort of sonic statement.
Well, it definitely works, man. The song is amazing. William Duvall joins us, of course, from Alice in Chains. He's also featured on that new Who track, This Is Mongol. William, you're a musician. You're a lyricist yourself. When somebody asks you to kind of do the lyrics for a particular song, we've had the Who in here to do acoustic stuff with us. It was awesome, but we also talked to them in every way through a translator. So it was an interesting conversation to have. Is it a situation where they're like, this is our song, here's our lyrics, or are you allowed to have a little bit of freedom with the process?
Oh, yeah. No, I basically wrote a song within the song, and what's more is I actually ended up producing and mixing this thing. Right. So again, it was definitely a journey. I thought, yeah, okay, this is great. I'll do a verse, and I sent it off. Everyone loved it, and then that began a series of back and forth where honestly they kept wanting more, to go bigger, and we finally got to a point where I was like, okay, if you guys want even more than what we have here, this is after a few rounds, I was like, I can do that, but I kind of need to take this whole thing apart and put it back together my way now, and so they were like, yeah, okay, great, and again, I'm making it sound as if I'm on the phone with the Who and we're just going back and forth like this. No, it was obviously through their team, through the label, and all of that, because as you mentioned, they don't speak any English at all. So in the end, we got the record that we have now. I feel like it's hopefully going to extend their reach into the West, right, and to Western audiences, and give them kind of an anthem to move forward with. I hope that the end result achieves that, and I'm just glad that people are digging it. I'm glad stations like yours are supporting it.
William Duvall joins us, man. I have so much respect for what you do. I appreciate you kind of help stripping this down a little bit for us, because sometimes I think people hear these collaborations and see them happen and think it's just you popping into a studio, throwing down something and sending a Dropbox file to the Who and then making it happen. But I mean, judging from your story, there's so much not only work but also, man, time that you put into this. That's just an incredible collaboration that took a lot of work and effort to put together.
For sure. It was definitely a process. The balance that I was trying to strike was, I definitely want to be true to myself and do my thing without stomping on what makes them so cool to begin with. And so in the end, the method was sort of like, okay, I could try to achieve as much of a call and response here as possible. So if I say something, I want to try to make sure that they say something back, right? And I had all of their sound files, and of course I ended up recording a whole bunch of tracks of my own. Wherever I would make some sort of a statement, particularly vocally, I would make sure to try to slot them in somewhere. So everywhere where there was a hook, I would try to say, okay, well, let me put them here. Now that meant, in practice, sometimes having to move a particular sound that they made, right, a particular vocal part, and make it fall rhythmically in a way that was completely different than the way it fell rhythmically in their version. And that would require a lot of nuance and a lot of shifting around and kind of, finessing. But, and I did that with vocals of theirs and instrumental parts of theirs too. But again, it was all to the service of making something cool and making something that truly was a collaboration.
Well, mission accomplished. It's a great collaboration, and we're glad to have a chance to get to help spread the word. And we wouldn't be doing our job, William, if we didn't ask you about the possibility of some new Alice in Chains music down the road. Would love to hear if there's anything down the pipe coming for Alice in Chains.
Well, right now we're really kind of digging our time apart, doing our various things. When we're doing Alice in Chains, it's very full on. It's 100% every single day, and we kind of really relish our time apart, our breaks. I think it's part of what helps keep us together, because you get to do your thing when you come together, and then you get to do some other work while you're apart, and then when you do come back together again, it really, whatever you've been doing outside of that Alice thing sort of informs and energizes the Alice thing, And so I really couldn't say when when we might reconvene. We try to never say never, because we truly don't know. And then suddenly something will happen, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, it looks like we might be gaining some momentum again, and then you guys get to hear the results of that. But yeah, until then, there's no timeline on it.
It's interesting because we've got a chance to talk to a couple artists who've got, very large moving, vehicles and bands like Alice in Chains. And then they've got the solo projects on the side. And it's amazing because we've talked to a couple artists and they're like, that's a big machine. And when we're out doing that stuff, it's all about that machine. And then we get off a chance to be solo. We get to spend more time being ourselves and, having the chance to talk about a record like this and get a chance to spend some time with you, because if you were working during the Alice in Chains time, that probably wouldn't be in the realm of possibility. So we really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate that very much too. And yeah, that's correct about the big machine, right? I mean, that's a good analogy, because that's what it feels like, and that's cool, But it's also really nice to take a little time away from that big machine.
Amen. But whenever you're ready, we'll be here with open arms, waiting for whatever you have to offer us, sir. You know that.
No doubt, man. Thank you.
Of course, we appreciate the time, William, man. We know you're busy. Thank you for carving out some time to talk about the new record with us, what you did with The Who. We appreciate it, man, and we will look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Absolutely. And thank you again for your support of this record. It really means a lot, and I'm glad your audience seems to be enjoying it.